At least about 315 students have been abducted in what is being described as one of Nigeria's worst mass kidnapping incidents that has taken place over the span of the last week. This includes about 303 students and about 12 teachers. They were taken from a Christian school in Nigeria's northwestern Niger state. The St. Mary's Catholic School was attacked in the dead of the night in the early hours on Friday. The Christian Association of Nigeria has announced today that about 315 have been kidnapped from the school. The local governor has announced that all schools in the state of Niger have now been shut indefinitely following these mass abductions. The St. Mary's was the second Nigerian school where a mass kidnapping took place this week.
These incidents will have been avoided. However, it's not a time for blame game. Our mission today is to see how we can rescue these children and all those that have been kidnapped in that incident. As such, we are calling on all the security agencies, civil society organizations, organized labor, clerics, to please focus on the rescue of these children.
On Monday, another school had been attacked in the neighboring Kebbi state, where at least about 25 school girls and a teacher had been abducted and at least 2 staff members were killed. 2 of the girls, however, managed to escape and 23 are said to be missing. And these are not the only kidnappings that have made headlines in this week. On Tuesday, gunmen had stormed a church service in the Kwara state. At least 2 people were killed and 38 others were kidnapped. Now, the attack was captured in video because the service was being live streamed. A church official later said that the gunmen asked for 100 million naira as ransom per kidnapped worshipper. That's about $69,000 per person. And that makes it 3 major attacks in just 5 days. 2 of them targeted schools, 1 of them a Catholic school. A church also raided with dozens of worshippers being kidnapped, and all the attacks took place in the same region of Nigeria. Now, Abuja has been under tremendous pressure over the attacks. This is because the US President Donald Trump has taken a special interest in Nigeria. He says that Christians in Nigeria are being specifically targeted. On the 31st of October, he had designated Nigeria to be a country of particular concern for alleged religious freedom violations. The following day, he also put out a post on social media threatening to send the US military guns blazing into the country. The day after that, he made the following statement.
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
The Nigerian government has been scrambling in the wake of the recent kidnappings. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff personally went to Kebbi on Tuesday. He issued directions to the troops overseeing the rescue of 23 schoolgirls that are still in captivity. Meanwhile, Nigeria's National Security Advisor has been on a diplomatic mission in the United States throughout this week. He reportedly met with the U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane. And after meeting Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Pete Hegseth said that the U.S. Department of War is actively working with Nigeria to end the persecution of Christians by terrorists. The U.S. State Department has also made the following announcement.
The Trump administration is developing a plan to incentivize and compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and improve religious freedom. This plan will consider U.S. state and Treasury engagement on sanctions, as well as possible Department of War engagement on counterterrorism and other efforts to protect religious communities.
Now, Nigeria has been ravaged by insurgencies for decades, and groups such as the Boko Haram and the Islamic State West Africa province have been behind a string of such attacks. But this week's kidnappings and counter-kidnappings have been attributed to armed raiders who are looking for ransom. In Nigeria, they are colloquially known as bandits. Will Trump's focus on Nigeria actually help in solving the country's insurgency problem is, of course, a big question. And our correspondent Louisa Ulani has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report from Lagos in Nigeria. Listen in.
It's a burst of emotions across the country where the shock is still sinking in after Friday's attack on St. Mary's Catholic Schools in Papiri community within Agwara local government area, Niger State, Nigeria. The Christian Association of Nigeria has now confirmed that over 300 students and teachers were abducted in the overnight raid, a sharp rise from the earlier 227 reported figures after a full head count revealed that many of the children who initially fled were later captured by the gunmen. Authorities say security teams are combing the surrounding forest, but so far there has been no confirmed rescue. This is the second major school kidnapping in a week, raising deep fears about the safety of the children in the region. Amnesty International has slammed the abduction, saying it exposes the Tinubu administration's ongoing failure on security. The president had earlier cancelled an overseas trip as the crisis in the country deepens. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olaniyi, WION, World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.